Hey everyone, thanks so much for turning up to today's webinar. I'm here with Litt app, who is a really exciting super app with a number of features. And we've been working on an expression of interest campaign with them for a number of weeks now. And this webinar is a great chance for us to be able to not only learn more about the business, but a really good chance for you to be able to understand a lot more in depth about the features of the app and ask questions as a potential investor for the upcoming raise. My name's Robin Holt and I'm representing Virtual here today. And I'm joined here by Peter and Brent, who are the co-founders of Litt. And look, I think I'm really excited to be jumping on this webinar and to be able to provide everybody with this opportunity to learn more about Litt. And we've had a really exciting couple of last weeks for Litt. So obviously just jumping into it, I guess we'll get started fairly soon. But hey guys, great to catch up.
How you going?
Hey Robin, how you going, mate? Hey everyone.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome.
Awesome. Look, I think before we kick off into some of the finer details, I think it would be a great start to kick off and really just understand the backstory of Litt and how you've got here and what a journey you've been on to get to this point, because it's really been quite a journey and there's a lot that's happened behind the scenes. So I'd love you to break down the story for everybody who's in attendance today.
Sure. No, that's great. Thanks, Robin. Brent and I have been mates for years. We saw a gap in the social media world out there. The current platforms were, letting a lot of stakeholders down. And our goal is to really bring, communities back together and celebrate community member safety, engaging, and getting everyone together in a more rewarding manner. But when Brent and I sort of, started this whole journey a long time ago, 3 years ago, we had the vision of what we wanted after realizing some of those gaps. And it was, us along with a number of others that had this vision to bring it all together.
And that's exactly what Pete was saying. Is it's been exciting 3 years, and we're excited to roll out around Australia and beyond. And as Pete said, a lot of people ask us, isn't social media saturated? Well, we feel the big tech giants have left out massive gaps for our opportunities for us to get everyone involved in the nation. Everyone wants to be a part of something really cool and unique and new. And, on our platform, you can be that. You can make money with us. You can get exclusive deals from businesses and help activate, the community. And what better way, and timing right now, especially in this whole COVID world we're in, is to help your actual, the people around you and your own nation for once.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, that's it's so great to really hear that, and from your personal experiences as well, coming together as founders who have known each other for a long time as well. It's always so great to be so united on the same mission and the same path. And I think one thing which I'd really love to just stress to everybody who's in attendance today is, while we're going through a number of questions which have been asked by a lot of potential investors through this process already, so we're really covering off questions that people have asked, you can always use the Q&A feature. So I can see, Jamie, there that you've raised your hand. If you'd love to ask a question, please do use the Q&A feature, and we're happy to go in and answer your questions live on air today. So while we move on to the next question, I think, obviously we've seen what's happened over the last week or two. Facebook has shown its dominance and really shown what happens when something like, the bargaining code and the government really come in and try to control what's happening, and Facebook has decided, okay, we're going to force their arm. And I think that for a long time, even when I first got here, people were talking about alternatives and whether or not we needed these players in the market. Obviously, they've helped, bring communities together, but that doesn't mean that there's not a reason for us to be able to look at local competition at all. And as a result, you've had a huge amount of press off the back of, people looking at other alternatives in the marketplace. I'd love you to break down what's happened at Litt just this year in terms of growth as a business. So. everybody
Sure.
can
Look,
understand.
it's been, it has been huge, and I guess in the startup world, we couldn't have kind of dreamed for this whole melting pot of Facebook dominance and Google dominance, and how the government interventions happened, and the media ban could have all come together sort of right at this time where we were just in that in this growth phase. We've had a 90% surge in member growth in the last 6 days. So, we're up to just over 17,000 members now. We've had almost 100% increase in businesses sign up to the platform as well. And that's been organic. There's been, we worked hard for those first sort of 250 odd. And now we're just over 425 businesses that have signed up now. So a lot of those have seen the press coverage. They've watched us, the interviews on Sunrise and the morning show, and we've had businesses call up over the last couple of days saying, "Hey, we saw you guys on Sunrise, and we saw you guys on the interview from the Daily Mail, and how do we get involved?" So that increase in business that's spiking daily at the moment has just been incredible. And it's all, I think it's a lot of it's about support, and support for an Australian business, a really local community focused business as well, that wants to, that we want to try to help and sort of integrate, everyone in that process. And sure, I mean, the Facebook thing is never going to go away. It's like, they're huge, and we're not saying, and we're not naive in the fact that people are going to, 1 billion people are going to jump off Facebook and onto Litt.
Would be nice.
But there's certainly been government pressure, and the pressure that's happened for Facebook to make this backflip isn't just an Australian position. It's there's been talks from India and the UK and lots of other jurisdictions around the world that if I let Australia sort of push that barrow, which we've done, then I think I think there's that's been the global pressure that's been applied to them, which has made them do their backflip. And good luck to them. We want to be there and compete alongside them and offer a really good alternative. And being a local product in Australia, where we're in talks with some fantastic companies like Hungry Jack's and Thirsty Camel and City of Joondalup over here in Perth, and we've got some great connections sort of through the East Coast where we're starting to engage as well. That will increase our national presence.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you really touched on the next point, which is the fact that you haven't just created an app which is just like Facebook or just like Instagram or just like the other social media platforms, and you're just applying it and saying, look, this is an Australian solution. You've really tried to go above and beyond with the features of the app and the competitive advantages of using the app over and above it. And there's that focus on local communities and keeping the economy circulating within local communities. And so I'd love you to kind of break down some of the features, because we get asked a lot about this in questions with regards to the features that you've rolled out and really why you've done them. So I think it would be a great chance for everybody to better understand the features and the benefits of each of them.
Yeah, sure. But we built the app keeping our key users in mind, and they include members and businesses and other community stakeholders like social causes, tourist organisations, dealing with local government as well in amongst the councils in their economic development areas, and that's been a big supporting factor as well. But our goal is to enable all parties to learn from one another and share and support, which is important because we want to provide that environment where you can support and also have that safe environment to do all that also.
A lot of people have said to us, you look very similar, the interface looks very similar to other social platforms, and we didn't want to sort of deviate far off from the actual interface of our platform, but we have some major unique features that we know we have unique capabilities of expressing to the nation and beyond. So one of our major features, of course, is our Litt digital wallet. And that is our very own. It's 100% government approved ASIC digital wallet. It's not a cryptocurrency. It's a real one-to-one Aussie value. So that's connected to our advertising modules. So people, we reward our members for their attention. So they can watch advertising on our news feed and get rewarded with real money, and they can spend that back in participating Litt businesses. So that alone we're changing the world of digital advertising. A lot of people have never heard of that. We're getting our members ringing, emailing in, private messaging and saying, give us more ads, give us more ads. And that's a really cool feature. Another unique feature is our augmented reality advertising. So, participating businesses can geofence this, a certain area around their store or different stores or even competitor stores, and set a geofence, which is an invisible geofence. The user will walk through, get a push notification, and it's like that Pokemon style platform, and they'll see a floating coffee cup or a burger, and hit on that. And if they press I like it or claim this, it goes into their promotion section of Litt with the actual deal with a Google clickable map, and they have to get installed with a certain time. So, a lot of our features on the platform is, it's a call, it's a call to action. Everything has a reward behind it. Everything has a benefit behind it. And that's, we feel, when people say, is it like Instagram and Facebook? Well, it's nowhere near like it. It's got all the social pieces to it, and a lot more benefits to every member and every business, and a safer platform. Like as Pete said, we have our own unique moderation tool as well. So it's just another way that we are interacting with the community to let them in. So what that means is, if it's inappropriate content as a post or a comment or a voice comment or a story, we give the power back to the community that they can press it's inappropriate, and we have a counter system in our back end. If that gets pressed a certain amount of times, it gets pulled straight off the newsfeed. Of course, we have the last say. Our guys here have the last say. If it is violence or pornography or any of that stuff, and if we feel it doesn't go beyond our policies, we can put it back up. But that alone, as Facebook and all the big tech giants, they get hammered with that globally, because a lot of their stuff gets left on the newsfeed for hours or days on end before they finally have one of their mediators pulling it down. But we're giving that power back to our community.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really think that shows the strength in numbers and the strength that you're trying to instill in the community, that you are basically being helped by, in a sense, to build the initial user base of Litt itself. And so you're enabling that for them. And we've actually had a great question here from Jason, who has asked around the member base. Obviously has stated, it's great that you've seen an uptake in, member base in the last 6 days. Asking really, what does it look like converted to the industry standards in terms of daily active users and monthly active users and time per session? Obviously, with having a new user base and having new users, these figures are going to be moving all the time. But I was wondering if you could kind of break down what your data is showing so far.
Yeah, look, it is changing, and I guess to give those numbers right at this moment is quite difficult, because it actually because we are having so many new members on board and people jumping on board over the last 6 days, it's very highly active. So we do look at, there are industry standards and industry percentages of what that looks like, and we're sitting around those probably above those standards right now, because we have got all these new members jumping on board. And that's sort of more around the 30% mark, whereas your standard industry averages are probably around 15 to 17. But yeah, look, it has been a is a good question, and it's probably a slightly tougher one to answer right now with the growth that we've had. But yeah, it's certainly something that we'll be publishing as we go through on our website, to make sure that people do understand, because that that is an engagement process you know, for activating our businesses as well, because the businesses need to understand what our active users are, because we are, you know, obviously an advertising-led business, and you know the amount of eyeballs that hit the screens on a daily basis is key to those advertisers placing their newsfeed ads, their augmented reality ads. One thing I will say is we have got one of the features that we run on the platform is our hard-coded augmented reality camera, which has live stream advertising running through it when you tap on the cash bags. That particular feature is being hit over 5,000 times per day. So you know, again, looking at our numbers at about just over 17,000, that's a pretty good percentage of people jumping on, hitting that augmented reality camera, chasing that jackpot bag, which is what it's all about. You know, not just getting the sort of, you know, 5 or 10 cents. It's chasing the $50 or, you know, the $60, depending on what the jackpot rolls in at.
Yeah, of course. And look, I mean, just in the second part of that question, and obviously it might not even, it's going to be a moving aspect as well, but Jason's asked what your churn rate looks like at the moment. We know that this is obviously important to app-led businesses, but obviously with your user growth, it's going to be a moving part over the next few weeks.
Yeah, and I guess that is correct, and you know, and where we've had this intense growth over the last 6 days, and look, and to be honest, we haven't been focused on that over the last 6 days. We've just had so much press, so much media attention, you know, so many questions to answer, from our new members coming on board and signing up new businesses. We're only a relatively small team that are running this new this platform. So that's one of our growth strategies, is to ensure that, you know, all that data that we collect, 'cause we've got all the infrastructure to collect it, is readily available to answer any of these questions for.
Yeah, awesome. No, that's great. That's fantastic. And I guess when we look and get back to a lot of the questions that we've kind of been seeing come through a lot of the time, you've talked about helping small businesses and locally grown businesses. But I'd love to really understand, as well as this, what else really applies to your mission. What does Litt stand for as a business, and what do you really want to represent as a business at this point that's going to really drive you forward?
Well, yeah, thanks. That's we started the journey because we saw the gaps in the social media market at the time, so going back 3 years ago. But really, quite simply, we didn't see anything out there that like-minded people and friends could, digitally connect in a safe and positive environment and get rewarded for simply being on the platform. And also looking at a platform that is domiciled in Australia, and where Australian taxes are paid by the company, and again sort of, I guess, going back to the big tech giants, the amount of money that goes through them from Australian advertisers over the year, and the amount of tax that they pay is it's frightening, and it's less than 1%. So we don't want to be in that bucket. We're an Australian business. We want to pay our due taxes, when we start making money and profit. So that's where we sit. But we set out to create as a mission, as you asked. It's digitally enabling key stakeholders in communities to contribute positively to one another in a safe environment, where we can reward participation.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess, you've really talked a lot about local communities, and talked about the growth of local communities and getting those people involved. Perhaps you could kind of share a story of a business which has used you so far. You've mentioned you've got a couple of them in your video, but I think it would be great to hear from a personal business's perspective.
We have one of our businesses that's always engaging, and you go down there and see them. always got good news to tell you, which is it's a business that I don't live far from in Mindarie, and it's called Basil's Fine Foods. It's a sort of gourmet supermarket, and ever since he's been on the platform, or their family's been on the platform, they love it for many reasons. Is that of course they can interact with the local community even more, and bringing in new customers from surrounding suburbs down the coast or further inland, up north of Perth there, and that, you know, with the different advertising features, it gets quiet, you know, 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, they'll throw out some augmented promotions and bring people back in. And that's where, you know, it's so many unique ways of engaging new customers, existing customers, and loyal customers. And that's the really exciting part that they also like, is we're about to launch our Litt loyalty program with our Visa card. And he was on Rewardle. His family on Rewardle, and he basically he hit me up a few months ago and said, "Are you guys doing any loyalty programs?" And I said, "Well, once we launch this Visa card, yes, we are. It's in the pipeline, and it's built now. We're about to, push it out to the market." So what that means is, guys, it's a big, Litt loyalty program that all businesses and members can benefit off. So, our normal commission, we call it customer acquisition cost, was 10%. So that means if any member uses their Litt Visa card for either Litt Cash or Litt Voucher, we normally would take 10% commission off that transaction in store. We are now giving 5% back to the customer, and we take 5%. So, the more money you spend on your Litt Visa, the more money the customer gets back, which keeping the customer very happy and the business. And once I told Jason, who owns Basil's, he just said, "I'm throwing Rewardle in the bin." So it's and that was a very humble experience, and we're about to to fully launch that around Australia now, and that becomes one of the most powerful pieces of a feature on our platform, and endless opportunities with that.
Because there are whole businesses built out of that cashback system.
For sure.
There's a number of those. There's a number of those that are happening out there right at this moment. I get push notifications from them all the time.
Yes.
But the way that ours works, like Brent was saying, giving a percentage of our commission back to the members, it just creates that loyalty. It creates another reason for that business to actually then advertise with us and drag more people into their store. It also has the added benefit where that it's not only that one business that actually can benefit. It can be a number of businesses, because the cashback system is available to everyone, to all the different businesses that are on the Litt platform. And it's a great it's a great new system for us, and everyone's been really positive on it.
Because Robin, that Visa is connected to, of course, all the free advertising that the members collect.
Yeah.
But how do we get our members? A few months ago, we were figuring out how we're going to get our members to make their Litt Visa card their main card. So took us a long time, but we have actually the option for the members to shift money on their own money on top of their Visa. So you might have $20 from watching ads and getting some jackpots, and you can go out to lunch to one of our businesses, and it's $50. So why wouldn't you put $30 on your Litt card, and really you got that meal for $30 instead of $50? So we're incentivizing the members to load more money on the Visa to get cash reward backs, and of course the businesses are loving it because they're not getting hit with 10%, it's really 5%, and they have a chance to get that 5% back. So it's a win-win for everyone.
No, I love that setup. Like you said, for small businesses who are based out of Perth at the moment, obviously, and we're going to talk about the international rollout of Litt, across the rest of Australia, the national rollout rather. I love hearing these stories of small businesses who really not only have they got a technical solution which is local to them, it's something which is personable. They can put a face to it, and it's really providing these local solutions that show that you really just don't necessarily need the multinational corporations to come over and provide these services for them, where they can really, you know, seek better solutions and newer solutions from businesses which are born out of Australia. It's awesome. I think in going into this, obviously we can see that you've built up a really strong community. It's always exciting to hear where you're looking to go and what your identifiable market is looking to be. I'd love you to break down what the next 12 months looks like. Everybody's really always keen to know what you're using the funds for, to, you know, really build the business from here. So maybe it would be a good time to go on and explain what this fundraise is being used for, and what the next 12 months of Litt really looks like.
Yeah. Well, I guess now that we've proven the product, and there's a clear demand for it across Australia, as the last 7 days have shown, we've got sort of 3 main goals for the next 12 months, which are expanding across Australia to and to major regional centres, attracting, you know, both members and businesses to get on board the platform. You know, we're lucky in that respect to have some really great ambassadors, like National Geographic, you know, TV host, you know, Matt Wright, who's also the wildlife ambassador for Tourism Australia. So he's a fantastic guy. AFL player Josh Kennedy from the West Coast Eagles. So hopefully everyone listening's on board with the West Coast. And you know, so those guys, we've got Flip Palmatier, who's a terrific big wave surfer from down south here, and a number of guys on the east coast in Queensland in that dirt bike riding, you know, freestyle motocross. Who are fantastic guys who are going to help us, you know, push this platform out across their own areas as well.
We just had an exciting, Pete had an exciting phone call 2 days ago off the guy who runs Australian Made profile on Facebook. Who, you know, perfect brand, Australian Made. He's already on the platform on Litt, and he's in discussions with us now about, you know, hopefully merging. He's got 1.7 million followers on Facebook, so, and awesome. 6,000 businesses he deals with. So, you know, you start working with people like that with databases, and we're off and away. So there's not, Pete's been getting hammered with emails and calls of, you know, big databases like that, and that's you know, a very exciting opportunity for us.
Yeah, most definitely. And look, I know that we just talked about this yesterday, but I'd love you to break down when the offer is launching and really what the opportunity is now. As most of you attending here today will have hopefully submitted an expression of interest already. If you haven't, you can go to the Litt app page on Virtual and submit your expression of interest. And effectively that will give you early access to the offer. But I was wondering if you guys would just love to break down when you're looking to launch the offer, and what the structure of that is. Yeah,
look, we're the offer's going to launch on the 9th of March. So we'll have the expression of interest going all the way out to the 8th. The numbers of our expressions of interest so far have been phenomenal, and have been increasing, you know, day by day, and getting, you know, a fair number of sophisticated investors jumping on board over the last couple of days as well, with some pretty large commitments. So we're very excited about that, and just a really strong retail investor number as well, which is probably one of the things we're most excited about. We're stoked, obviously, about the, you know, we went to get those sophisticated and wholesale investors, because they're going to put big licks of money in. But the numbers of retail investors wanting to put in, you know, 1,000, 2,000, you know, and even smaller numbers, has just been so. It's almost a bit overwhelming, to be honest.
It is.
You know, they're wanting to get behind a platform that actually, you know, does and will make a difference out there, and will have that, you know, connection with local community and local business. And I think that's and we're, like I say, we're pretty humbled by the response we've had. And we know we've got a very strong monetization model within the business, obviously being advertising led. But that business model doesn't just rely on just shoving ads in people's faces and and hoping they watch it and getting charged for impressions on the way through, and not having that engagement factor, which is where we've created this digital this circular economy for the platform, which brings the business and the community together, because that's the most important thing. How we find, and we've been told also from a number of other fairly big marketing and digital agencies, that we're kind of closing that loop on advertising. So getting people to watch an ad, at their own free will. It's not, we don't force them to watch ads. Earning some money by watching that and then going to spend that back in local business is a platform that really that no one else is doing. So so like you say, open the offer on the 9th. And we're looking pretty comfortable in reaching good targets straight off the bat.
Yeah, for sure. And look, I mean, the number of EOIs which have come in has been absolutely incredible. We're well past 850 EOIs. I'm sure that we're probably going to get close to 900 by the end of the day. From the way it's looking, with the number of EOIs that you're getting in, it's really showing that there are so many people out there who are really interested to join a business which is looking to solve the problems which you're really addressing here, and with such a wide array of features, and with the press that you've received, it's amazing to see the buzz. And while we've got a few more questions to cover off from potential and prospective investors, I'd really love to invite everybody who's listening in to ask any questions in the Q&A feature. This really is your best chance to try and ask some of these questions and have them answered instantly. As we kind of get close to opening the offer, questions might come in thick and fast, and we'll do our best to get back to you. But this is the best chance. So please do use the Q&A feature if you've got any questions which you'd like to ask. But in moving down to some of the questions which we've seen, and we know that this happens with businesses which build big lists, but people have asked you about your data and the protection in place for users who are basically common users of the Litt app, and really how it's being protected. So I'd love you to just break that down for everybody who's listening in.
Sure. Look, we believe data security and the security of their data is the utmost importance for our users and internet users in general. Litt is committed to making a safe and secure environment for its members.
Yep.
We don't sell or share personal data with any third parties. And all our data is hosted in AWS servers right here in Australia, but in Sydney, which we're sure that makes us a pretty safe and secure environment, both functionally and visually. It's something that we're pretty adamant about. It's something that we started this whole journey, telling ourselves that was a key mission. We've had all that Cambridge Analytica stuff that went through over the last 18 months, and watched how they got smashed around with that. We don't want to be in that position. It's not our goal or our mission to be there. And there's certain data that does get shared to advertisers, but that's typical data of it's anonymous. It's their demographic. The advertiser can choose an age range that they target their advertising to.
Right.
They're like a Thirsty Camel bottle shop. It can only go to 18 plus. If it's advertising any sort of product that's outside of that is an 18 plus ad, it may only go to a certain time. And also your jurisdictions of where you can advertise as well. You can pinpoint a Sydney ad, or you can pinpoint a Newcastle ad in Sydney. So you need to be able to, we need to have that amount of information that goes out, so the advertiser can put out what he wants to the right people. But you're not going to want to have I guess a 40-year-old bloke having having baby products advertised on his feed, potentially. So it's not it is our commitment to keep the data safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've actually just had a few questions, which is great. And an anonymous attendee has asked, and I think we're doing this a slightly different way around because we've had a couple of questions around what you get back for investment, but maybe this is the long shot first, and then we'll kind of dial it back to today. But somebody's asked, if Litt takes off, will you sell to a bigger company? And maybe you can talk about your exit strategy here.
Well, we have had that question
A lot of times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Especially over the last 6 days. Look, it's a hard question to answer because if it's not our intention right at this time. I guess that's probably the most current answer to that question that we can give you.
We're here for the long run.
We are here for the long run. We have identified a number of parties or businesses down the track, and we're talking years down the track that we'd like to be a part of on a global level.
Yep.
And some of those have just fantastic synergies that we believe would operate within the realms of our platform, and then we're checking a lot of these out pretty thoroughly. But it's not a situation where we're looking at let's just say Facebook comes along tomorrow and says, hey, you guys are a pain in our ass. We want to take you out for $1 billion. It's that to us just isn't realistic. Right now we want to build this product to a point where everyone's comfortable with what they're involved with and what they're they're sharing and what they're
It has to align with our mission statement. So
exactly.
Say it to each other from the start.
Yeah, 100%. And you've actually just got a couple of questions, one from Yvonne and another one from Peter. They're pretty similar in sense of what do you get back for your investment. I'd love to really first start by answering the fact that you're getting shares in Litt app itself. So Virtual is a licensed CSF platform, and what this means is that we're licensed to be able to provide this opportunity for people to own shares in private companies, retail and wholesale investors. And essentially the minimum investment amount, which is also another question, that's going to be outlined in the offer document. But the number of shares that you will receive will be in accordance with the valuation of the company itself, which you will be able to see in the offer document as well. But you will be receiving shares, and those shares are not necessarily liquid. So you can't buy and sell and trade these shares on any stock exchange because they're being held in a private company. I know that you perhaps have talked about exit strategy and what you're looking to do. Really, I think the best way to explain this as well for any investor who is coming to this and is potentially new to investing into equity crowdfunding, you want to think about it as a long-term strategy for a means of investing shares that into the company that are funds that you wouldn't need to necessarily access in 12 months time. It's something that you really want to be able to invest and just see the business go from strength to strength. And obviously, go back and say, I'm really glad I made that investment all that time ago. And then perhaps in a few years' time, there's an opportunity for the business to be listed on a stock exchange, an opportunity for dividends to be issued, and an opportunity for the company to sell out to another corporation who decides to buy the company. So therefore, there's a number of opportunities, but I think what you guys have both explained really well is the fact that obviously the funds being used now are to grow the business, and at the moment that is your mission.
Yeah, 100%.
That is your mission. And Shane here has said, love the platform. What's the next step in functionality, i.e. event functions?
Yes, well, interesting you say that. We're getting a lot of call from event companies and a huge amount of events that happen all around Australia every week. We're looking at incorporating our own booking system into the platform, and also having our own private events page where I know my kids, for teenage kids, are always getting invited to parties and what's so on event pages on Facebook. So there's something in the realm of that, but not exactly the same. Obviously, will be incorporated in the pipeline. So we've got we've got a board full of exciting exciting projects that we want to embark on. But at the same time, the platform is big now. It's got a massive back end to it in terms of the admin features and functions that we control with all the advertising and the business portal. The business portal itself that the businesses use. That's again got 5-6 different advertising modules on it. It gives them all the data and all the analytics and all the transactional information straight off the bat. So that was a big functionality to continually improve as well, to provide the data for the advertisers and the businesses, and also then to make sure that what we are going to use the funds for from this raise is to grow the business out into the community across Australia.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And Shane has asked another question. Can we buy shares in a self-managed super fund? I get this question actually a lot more than you might expect. So I'm more than happy to answer. Yes, the answer is that you can. You obviously need to do your own research and make sure that this is possible within the terms and conditions of your own self-managed super fund. We can't give advice on that area, but should you wish to make an investment through your self-managed super fund, you can do it. You just need to make sure that you've signed up to invest as a company structure and input the legal name of your self-managed super fund, and use the address which is also assigned to your self-managed super fund, which is obviously likely to be your home address, but it's really important that we have these key details on file for when you sign up to the share registry provider at the end. So that's that question. Yvonne here has asked approximately how much is each share? And I know that we were talking about this yesterday, but maybe you wanted to touch on it briefly.
Yes, they're $1.30 per share. And yeah, as you said, the valuation and everything around that will be put out through the offer document when all that's completely finalised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome. And we're getting a ton of great questions here, actually. So I'm just going to whiz through them. We've got a question here from Garrett. Should the offer be fully subscribed? What would be the forecasted market cap? That's question one. And then the second question is Litt subscribed to / by the media bargaining code?
The media code that it's been directed directly, obviously at the two or three big international companies at this stage. We're in talks with a number of predominantly community-based platforms at the moment, media platforms at the moment, and a lot of them, are keen to put their product, their news and content up on the Litt app, and that's generally, if it's potentially going to be through a paywall, then that's something that they would put up on the platform for free, with a link to go there, and then that would also have I guess the direction that we would have to, I guess, to answer that question directly, we'd have to look at what that would mean for our business and where those funds would come from to pay for that media bargaining, which is going through legislation at the moment. So we don't know what that means for all applications out there right now, but it's certainly something we're obviously keeping well in tune of.
I got pretty excited the other day when we were talking the opportunity maybe of our Litt members using their Litt cash they're getting from advertising. They could use that to the paywall to get some subscription and view the content, and they got really excited about that because it's just another way, especially if they're watching that augmented reality cash bags, their ads coming in from around the world. So that doesn't really affect anything to do with our businesses here in the news feed. So that could be an opportunity there. Watch a bunch of AR ads and get a few cents, and there's your opportunity to view the ad content in the platform. So they were very excited about the talks of that. So that could work quite nicely.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I guess reverting back to the first part of the question, which is, should the offer be fully subscribed? In equity crowdfunding, if an offer is fully subscribed, it does close at that point in time. But Peter and Brent, perhaps you could answer just in a bit more detail what the market cap, and look, the market cap essentially is your post-money valuation, obviously when the offer is fully subscribed.
I guess that'll be determined on exactly what the initial valuation for the mark for the offer comes out at. The last, I can tell you that the last round of investment that we had come through this year was at $15 million. So that gives you an indication of sort of where we're around about.
Great, awesome.
Significant, obviously, increases in where we've in where we've gone since that stage. In 2020.
100%, 100%. And Jason here has asked a really interesting question, which I know doesn't necessarily apply to what's happened over the past week as much, but generally I'm sure that you have a lot more data on this for your earlier users. But he's asked around what the customer acquisition costs look like for both a user and a business, and then about the customer lifetime value, which we can answer afterwards.
The customer acquisition cost has come way down over the last 6 days.
Yeah, for sure.
Because of all of the media and the press that we've been receiving, and the massive sort of spike in just organic growth. But we're looking sort of in and around that sort of $8 to $10, which is around that sweet spot. We've tried a number of different acquisition angles in terms of getting people on board over the last 6 months, and some have been up as high as $20, and some have been as low as $5, which is our referral fee that we pay our members. So that's been one of our most successful as well. So when that customer that member who's already on the platform refers a friend to jump on board with their unique referral code, or by scanning their QR code out of their profile in their settings area, they just hold their profile picture down, and it just brings up their QR code. Their friend can scan that with their QR code reader, or just their camera on their phone, and it takes them straight to the app store. They can download the app, and then that person receives $5 as a referral. So that's been a very strong customer acquisition for us, and that's a fixed $5 cost at the moment. Like I say, some of the other ones have been where we've done some external database mail EDMs. We've done some TV and some radio, and so the mix around all that sort of is sort of hitting. Hitting that sort of, I guess, around that $10 mark.
What we found is when we first launched this thing in 2020, we thought the uptake would be a lot quicker because we're giving away free money. Now, when you say that, when you first launch a platform, people don't believe you. They think everyone thought we were a scam. We would go to basketball competitions with high school kids and all these soccer comps and that, and we're handing out these promo cards to download the app and to inject money into your wallet, and they would come straight up to your face and say, you're a scam, you're buying our data and you're selling it, and they'll run off. So a lot of people say it's too good to be true, because what platform pays you to be on it? So now with this, a lot of the media stuff coming out, we're getting some credibility. It's real. It's not a scam at all. So, we're hoping that comes way down, the customer acquisition costs. And that's the whole thing we got to get out there, guys, as a group, is the bigger we get this, is the more, all the advertisers want is eyeballs. So if we get thousands and thousands of downloads of members, the advertisers will come in because they just want their content to be seen. So the more content there's on there, the advertisers are going to keep forking more money into the platform, and the members get paid more. That's where a lot of people go, I want it all to myself, but it's not like that. The bigger we get it, we can seriously, and this might sound a little bit outrageous, but we have a model that can the big boys up, because we do have that advertising module connected to a digital wallet. And I don't want to disclose the name, but 3 years ago, I was in Silicon Valley with my father. I flew to Silicon Valley with a good mate of mine that has a really good connection of an 8-year marketing kingpin from Facebook. And I told him these ideas. He just finished Facebook, and he was really close friends with Mark Zuckerberg. And he goes, in my 8 years of Instagram and Facebook, I've never heard anyone talk about paying people to watch ads, because why would they? That would just crush Facebook's model. So we have got something that really, really can change the world of digital advertising, and it's real. And now we've got the seamless transaction with the Visa card. This thing's powerful. So, you know, it's a massive opportunity. The bigger we get it, the more we all benefit. We're paying taxes here. So there's some massive heartstrings we can pull here as Australians. Join up and be a part of this thing, because it's all of ours.
Yeah, 100%. It's awesome. That's awesome. And we're just going to have to go through final questions here, just because we've got to wrap up on good time. Unfortunately, we don't have a buffer today. So Jim has asked a really, really fun question about, do you envision the digital coin Litt becoming a token on a cryptocurrency exchange? I'm sure you've had this one before.
We have, yes. We've had. I shared it on the weekend. Someone actually asked me, you know, with all the whole crypto thing going,
Litcoin.
Yeah, going
Yeah,
around.
Litcoin.
You know, will we ever consider it as a Litcoin?
Yeah.
Look, I don't think so. We've already had it approved as an ASIC or ASIC approved 1-to-1 Australian dollar. In terms of that, then that took us a long time to get that approval. And to get the wallet approved, so we could convert the points to cash. Obviously, the beauty of our system and the beauty for the advertiser is you can't pull that cash out. It can only be used in those participating businesses, which means that they're the ones that, if they're advertising and they're contributing, then they get the chance of getting their money back.
Yeah, right. That's awesome. And Vero here has asked a couple of really interesting questions around, is this your first raise? And if not, they've asked what the first round share price looked like. Obviously, this is a moving figure. It's more around the valuation of the earlier rounds, but really, I guess it would be interesting to break down the funds that you have raised so far. And obviously, because we know that you have raised funds already to get to this point.
Yeah, the funds that we've raised already have been predominantly through friends and family, and obviously, you know, the money that the founders have put in themselves. So that's really where the funding has come from. So, in terms of another raise publicly out into the marketplace, it's been generally pretty narrow in terms of where that money has come from.
And how much in total have you raised, just externally, I guess, from this point?
Almost $3 million.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. We've had an anonymous attendee ask a question here, which I can answer part of. Will there be a frequent announcements to shareholders on the financials, and will there be an updates on the share price each year? So as part of the CSF regime, companies are required to submit a report. So a report to all the shareholders, which is publicly available for the last financial year. Of the company, which then they can go on and find out key details about the offer, the growth of the business and the current stage it's at, and the financials in the business as well. So there's that, but I'm sure that Litt, on your side, you'd be really keen to communicate more frequently with your shareholders than once a year.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, we're going to put out a quarterly newsletter that'll go to all shareholders, just giving them an update on customer numbers, business numbers, member numbers. What we're doing, what our pipeline looks like for new business, any potential contracts that we've got in the pipeline as well, and partnerships. So we'll be certainly we want the feedback. We've got broad shoulders. We're happy to have the feedback from people, and we want, like we said before, we want everyone to be a part of this thing and make their voices heard. And there's a lot of people out there with extremely good ideas and a lot of good business strategy that can help us along the way as well.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And Amanda here has asked if, along with the refer a friend piece and $5 into your wallet, you've just mentioned, do you have any merchandise for sale? Which is an interesting piece as well.
That's probably one of the main questions we get asked. If shareholders come on board, you guys will definitely be getting your Litt merchandise. That's part of the package. But we toss this around all the time. Should we sell Litt merch? We don't know. We're not really in that sort of area. Maybe some of the retail businesses will look at us as a competitor. So maybe that, I don't know. So yeah, it could be another way to monetize the platform, of course, and sell Litt merch. So good question. We don't really know the answer to that yet. No.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Brad here, you've asked a question around the share price, and I was in the middle of typing over to you, but I'd really love to just highlight that the share price itself it can be figured out in terms of what the share price is in terms of the number of shares which are on offer in this round and the total number of shares that are available in the company itself. So that will all be very clear in the changes in equity statement, which is in the offer document. More than happy. And obviously everybody who's here, make sure that you submit an expression of interest offer to be able to gain access to the offer itself. And you can read the offer document. You can see all these other details and financial information on the offer. Yvonne here has said, I want to invest 5K and I don't want to miss out. What do I do? Make sure that you've submitted an expression of interest and that you have the opportunity. Then you have the opportunity to become an early investor. So I'd highly encourage everybody to do that. Look, guys, I know we've all got to get somewhere else. You've got a radio interview coming up, which is awesome. So I know that you've got to jump on that. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And look, it's been so great to sit down with you both, not only hear some of the personal stories, but have everybody engage with this and really just ask some great questions. So thanks very much to everybody who's attended today. Please do feel free to reach out to me if you have any further questions on the offer. You can always reach out to me on robin@virtual.com and I'll share my details in a follow-up and send everybody a recording of this webinar in case they want to go over any of the finer details again. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank everyone too. Thank everyone for attending, and also thank you, Robin, for hosting, and thank Virtual for the opportunity. It's been been terrific.
Awesome. Amazing. Fantastic. Thanks very much, everyone. See you all soon.
Thank you.
See ya.
Go.
Bye.